들리세요?
Hello everyone, my name is Jizzlstra and I'm one of the initiators of Rotterdamse Oogst. I'd love to tell you more about our market. First, some basics. We are called Rotterdamse Oogst, that means harvest from Rotterdam. We started in 2009 and now we are a Saturday market. We host about 55 local producers every week and 150 a year. Our collective annual turnover is around 4 million euros.
It's a beautiful autumn day in Rotterdam, and I first would like to show you where we are. Rotterdam is the name of our city, and it means dam in the Rotte. And the Rotte is this little river over here. And more than 100 years ago, all the vegetables from the city that would feed the city of Rotterdam would be brought here by boats over this river, from the farmers to here. And here you see a little image of what it looked like back then. This is the vegetable market, Noordplein 1912. 1960, the market disappeared here, and the square was quite empty for a couple of years. This is funny to see. We Dutch people love to bike, so our customers come by bike. I'll take you to the market now. 15 years ago, we thought it was time for a nice, lovely French market, farmers market in the city of Rotterdam. So we went to our city council and suggested this. They also organized their own markets, and they were convinced there wasn't space for another one. So they said no. There were also no rules or possibilities for private organizations to get a license to organize markets. So the only thing we could do is start with a festival license, and we decided to do it big. So we had the circus tent and the dinners and VIP parties and music, artist projects. But the first thing we needed to do while developing this plan is, of course, to meet the farmers that we didn't know anymore. And here's an example of a farmer from an area south of Rotterdam. Gert van Herk. He's growing all this. And he thought we were quite weird in the beginning with our story. He said, "I'm just a normal farmer. Why are you interested in us?" And I said, "Yeah, but you're our farmer. You're the nearest farmer that we can find." So he didn't like going to the city, so we decided to come up with a plan to find a girl that would sell for him. And since then he's selling at our markets. And we did a lot of research. We really wanted to understand the situation where these farmers were in, not using farmers as a gimmick. So I think the thing that we were really interested and open-minded made a big difference in the relationship we built with the farmers. This is another example. From the same area, this is a farm where people work that need a little bit more care. They have an orchard, they make juices. also on the market already for 15 years. The cheese farmer is also a very important part of our market. This one is also on the market already for 15 years. They make biological organic cheeses. So we made sure that we had a group of at least 15-20 farmers, and we combined them with chefs from the city. We have a lot of immigrants in the city, and this is also a beautiful example of a cheese farmer. Goat's cheeses. She's also selling the meat from the male goats. Important story to tell as well. So we of course already knew a lot of chefs and food producers in the city. We connected them to the farmers, and we are still doing so. We're always trying to convince them to buy their stuff, their ingredients from the farmers that are on the market. I will show you some examples in a minute. In the city we have many different nationalities and also many different cuisines. To keep this urban-rural linkage strong, we ask all our vendors of food to use to use local ingredients. So we connect them to the farmers. This is an example of a Japanese stand, and they work with local vegetables.
Hello.
Hi. And we have many different cuisines. So it's a beautiful display of from the city and all these different types of foods. South American, Georgian, Italian. This is a lovely Turkish stand. Fatma started working with the vegetables from her own little urban garden, and we have many more examples. So we help them find farmers that can supply them with the ingredients that they need. And because we have a beautiful offering, like these many different types of tomatoes. Beautiful. And what about these? It's like a candy store, isn't it? An example of people buying ingredients from each other is this. The eggs from this farmer go to this lovely Thai food baker. But to many other people as well. The chicken of the ladies' eggs, they have a great life. Somewhere outside of Rotterdam, of course. They also go here. When setting up a farmer's market or thinking about local food economy, it's important not only to focus on selling the raw produce, like the potatoes, because people don't only buy potatoes, they also increasingly buy things that are made from potatoes, like chips or potato soups. These potatoes go to these wonderful fries. good to know that it took us about 2 years to get these fries guys to order the potatoes with this farmer.
It took us a total of 13 years to get our market legalized. So patience is a very important tool in this. We started with organizing a festival, of which the market was a big part. And this first festival was funded with cultural money. And we also used artists and designers to tell the story. That was a great place to start. There was space to experiment and to play. And from there on, we developed the market into a situation where we had about 20 markets a year. And then we got in trouble. But by then we had a great fan base, both of producers, small producers, farmers, consumers, citizens. And they were all willing to sign a signature list. And with that we went to the city council. And in the end, everybody thought it was time to give us a proper market license. So now we are the only private organization, foundation, that has a proper market license in Rotterdam.
One of the things Sora wanted to know is why Rotterdamse Oost, or how Rotterdamse Oost turned into a social common space. Great question. We don't know exactly, but I can show you some of the elements that in retrospect might be one of the reasons. We place tables on our markets and people share. You're not treated like a consumer here, of course. People eat and order stuff, but you can also sit here, read a book, or knit a sweater. And one of the things we hear from our customers is that they really feel this market is theirs. Maybe also because when we were in trouble with the legalization, we really needed help, and people really decided to help. So without them, it wouldn't be here anymore. Some other things that we do is we have these little interactive things for kids. One of the popular ones is this. It's a goat that you can, well, the kid will show you. You can milk it. We also have open stages, performances from local artists. And we just really want to be a place where people can get together. And why this is important, I think it's increasingly important to develop great, what they call third places. The first place is your home. The second, your place of work. But only in the third place, the public space where you can meet friends, but you can also bump into strangers, meet new people or dogs, is very important and increasingly important, because more and more places you are treated as a consumer. There are more and more commercial places, and it's really important in a highly divided world to meet each other. People from all ages and cultures and trades. And somehow we managed to do that. It's actually quite magical. And the funny part is that I think all farmers markets somehow turn into social common spaces, especially the ones that are in public space. So I would love to learn more about that also from other markets.
Vorig jaar heb ik ook bij jou. Ja, ik heb het gezegd. Ja, ik zie heel veel mensen denken.
We always love this moment when the market is over, it's been successful, and the stalls are being packed up and we empty the square and life goes on. A perfect moment to tell a little bit about the future that we see for our market. We are entering a new phase now that we have everything that we were thinking about 15 years ago. A legalized market, which is economically viable and is going great. We have no ambition to organize more markets. We do want to help other people to do so in their own local communities. And we would love to find new and regenerative farmers. And we are even considering starting our own market farm. We also look for new ways to work with local designers and artists again, like we did in the beginning. We'd love to tell their stories also. Well, thank you all for listening. I'm looking forward to the questions that you have and speak to you in a minute. Bye-bye.
비디오 비디오 게임즈 그걸로 써야 되지.
둘, 셋. 하나, 둘, 셋.
네. 네, 지금 저희는 네덜란드 로테르담에 있는 겔다와 연결이 되어 있고요. 저희 겔다와 소통을 하기 위해서 통번역가를 소개해드리겠습니다. 그 비아 캠페시나 소속의 이정민 통역가입니다. 들리시는 거죠? 네, 먼저 제가 젤다하고 한번 인사를 나눠보겠습니다. 젤다 안녕하세요.
Hello, Gerda. Can you hear me? Hello.
오디오 안 들어와요. We are really sorry. 안녕하세요, 겔다.
Hello, Gerda. How are you?
Goedemorgen. I'm fine, thank you.
네, 저희는 지금 젤다가 보내주신 비디오를 먼저 시청을 했습니다.
We've watched your video. Thank you very much for sending that.
Welcome.
네, 그리고 지금 여기 계신 분들께 자기소개를 부탁드리겠습니다.
Can I ask you to introduce to yourself to our audience here?
Good morning, Korea. This is Rotterdam speaking. My name is Gerda Zijlstra. I'm the founder and director of the Rotterdamse Oogst, which is a market organization in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. Yeah.
안녕하세요. 좋은 아침입니다. 저는 지금 아침인데요. 제 이름은 게르다 지즐스트라고요. 저는 로테르담 우그스트라는 농부시장의 창립자입니다.
네, 계속해서.
I was trained as an industrial design engineer, and we started this initiative from a cultural perspective with a couple of people from the cultural world, actually, that were missing a lively place in the middle of Rotterdam, and we were missing the food of the farmers in the city, as I told in the video also.
제가 처음에 그 비디오에서 말씀드린 것처럼 처음에는 이 농부시장이라는 거를 어떤 지속 개발 가능한 도시의 모습으로서 제가 도시 엔지니어적인 모습으로서 그 문화 기금을 받아서 먼저 그 시장을 창립을 했고요.
Do you want to know more about me or about the market? Just tell me.
네, 저희 시장에 대해서 알고 싶으신지 아니면 저에 대해서 더 알고 싶으신지 여러분의 질문을 좀 들어보면 좋을 것 같아요.
네, 그래서 현장에서 저희가 질문을 받아서 진행을 해보도록 하겠는데요. 비디오를 보시면서 네덜란드의 상황, 그리고 네덜란드 파머스마켓의 상황, 젤다에 대해서, 겔다에 대해서 궁금하신 부분이 있다면 손 들고 질문해 주시면 감사하겠습니다.
So to our audience here, I would like to ask you to bring some questions to our Gerda here while you're watching her video. If you have any questions, we will give you the answers on site here.
예, 여러분들이 생각하실 동안 저희가 사전에 농부시장들에게 궁금한 점이 있는지 먼저 물었고 그 부분에 대해서 저희가 겔다에게 사전에 질문을 보내드렸습니다.
We did send her some pre-questions before. We had some audience who hadn't attended here, so we have some pre-questions here, but also we will get some answers on live.
그래서 제가 이 질문들을 먼저 하고 있을 테니까 그동안 네, 질문하실 게 있는지 한번 생각해 봐 주시면 감사하겠습니다.
So to give our audience some time to think about their questions, I will bring up our pre-questions here so that we can have conversation here first and then let our audience to join.
Perfect.
네, 첫 번째 질문입니다. 로테르담스 우그스트는 1년에 몇 회의 시장을 여나요?
How many Rotterdam Oogst market happens in a year?
We have a weekly market, so we have 52 markets every year.
저희가 매주 시장,
Every Saturday.
네, 매주 토요일마다 시장을 열고 있어서요. 1년에 52회 정도 시장을 열고 있습니다.
네. 그랬을 때 궁금한 점이 있습니다. 한국은 여름의 더위가 무척 뜨겁고 겨울의 추위가 무척 거셉니다. 또한 비가 오는 날도 많습니다. 그럴 때 어떻게 하십니까?
So I'm curious, in Korea, the weather here is quite extreme in the summer, quite humid and hot, and very cold in the winter, and there are lots of rainy days. And in these sort of weathers, how do you open your market outdoor?
Maybe the market is, the weather is less extreme in the Netherlands, and we are lucky, I think, in a very moderate climate. When it rains, we open the market anyway. People mostly come for shopping. We have roofs over every table, so they do their shopping and they go home quickly. On beautiful sunny days, they linger and stay all day, and it's a very busy day. There's a lot of people hanging around. But even on a rainy day, people sell just as much. So especially the vegetable, the breads, the grocery shopping, these people sell just as good on a rainy day. Our big enemy is the wind, actually. Those are scary days. So what we do is we strap our stalls to the streets. There's hooks in the streets, and we put straps all over the stall and make sure the situation stays safe.
네, 네덜란드에서 날씨는 한국보다는 좀 괜찮은 편인데요. 그래서 저희가 그 마켓에 있는 그 테이블마다 지붕을 좀 제공을 합니다. 그래서 비를 막기도 하고요. 보통 이렇게 날씨가 안 좋을 때도 그 손님들이 많이 오셔서 쇼핑이라도 하고 가시는 편이기 때문에 사실 그 매출에는 차이가 많이 없어요. 또 좋을 때는 또 손님들이 더 오래 좀 놀다 가시는 편이고요. 사실 저희 네덜란드의 경우에는 가장 어려운 경우가 이 바람이 많이 부는 날인데 그 거리에 이렇게 마련되어 있는 말뚝 같은 데다가 이렇게 잘 묶어서 좀 안전하게 마켓을 진행할 수 있도록 준비하고 있습니다.
굉장히 지금 농부시장 관계자분들과 농부시장에 참여하고 계시는 농부님들 많이 계시는데 실질적인 내용들이 오고 가고 있다는 판단이 듭니다. 개인적인 판단입니다.
As we have a lot of market operators and then store holders here ourselves, I think all your practical advices and answers are very related to us.
네, 그래서 조금 더 이런 실무적인 부분을 얘기를 할 텐데요. 질문이 있으시다면 중간에라도 손을 들어주시면 감사하겠습니다. 네, 지금 질문이 객석에서 2개가 나왔어요.
We have 2 questions here from the audience.
말씀하시면 됩니다.
네, 아까 완성되기까지 시장이 완성되기까지 총 15년이 걸렸고, 그다음 13년이 걸렸다고 그런 부분이 있었거든요. 그 행정적인 문제의 큰 걸림돌은 무엇이었는지, 걸림돌은 많았었는지, 왜 그렇게 13년씩이나 걸렸는지 그게 좀 궁금합니다.
So my question today is that you said you started the market 15 years ago and it took about 13 years to legalize it. And what are the biggest obstacles administratively? And were there many obstacles? Why did it take so long?
In the Netherlands, we have many street markets, but they are all organized by the city organizations, so by the local authorities. And we also have sort of event markets like for art or for handmade stuff, etc. But those are only during summer months, only once a month maybe, and they work with a different license. What's very interesting is if you look at the very first official papers there are about the city, there were already 2 categories that's in the Middle Ages, like very long ago. You had weekly markets that was for farmers and for food, and you had the yearly markets. Those were the big festivals. We still have those two categories in our legal system. And that means that when we said we want to do a weekly market for food, the local authorities said, no, that's not possible. You can only organize a party with an events license. So we had to work, to lobby, to talk, to show what we want, to keep on trying until we could change the rules. We had to change the law, actually. So that's why it took so long.
네, 그래서 저희 같은 경우에 보통은 시에 이런 밖에서 이루어지는 시장 같은 경우에는 보통은 시에서 주관하거나 아니면 그 지역에 있는 지방청에서 주관을 하고 있는데요. 이벤트성으로 열리는 시장 같은 거는 많이 있습니다. 예를 들면 뭐 이런 수공예품이라든지 아니면 이런 그 여름 시즌에만 열리는 마켓들이 많이 있는데 이게 거의 뭐 중세 시대 때부터 시작된 거였는데 저희가 보통은 매주마다 열리는 이런 음식과 관련된 이런 채소라든지 이 재료들과 관련된 시장이 있고 또 연간으로 열리는 시장 어떤 축제성의 그런 시장이 있는데요. 이것이 거의 이제 시의회에서 관련 주관을 하고 있었기 때문에 여기 관련된 법 제도라든지 어떤 그런 법이 아예 없는 전무한 상황이었습니다. 그래서 저희가 이제 마켓을 열려고 할 때 이런 게 전혀 만들어져 있지 않는 상황이었기 때문에 좀 긴 시간이 걸리게 되었어요.
네, 답변이 되셨을까요? 네. 또 다시 한번 그 질문들.
We have another question here.
마켓에 셀러로 참석할 수 있는 자격 같은 거나 그리고 저희들도 마찬가지지만 어쨌든 다른 마켓들도 보면 셀러비를 내잖아요. 그러니까 그런 것들이 어떤 게 있는지 그리고 또 저희들이 그냥 보통 이제 그 아까 말씀드렸다시피 뭐 그 다른 장터 이벤트성 시장이 있다고 했잖아요. 그러니까 플리마켓. 그러니까 보통 우리가 뭐 체계 같은데 있는 진짜로 말하는 그냥 벼룩시장하고 요걸 이제 그 농부장터가 같이 조인을 해가지고 하기도 하는지 아니면 이제 아주 별개로 운영이 되는지 그런 것도 알고 싶습니다.
So I've got several questions. Do you have any criteria or standards to allow the farmers or producers to join as your market seller? Or do you charge them any fee if they join them as a seller in your market? And the last one is, you said there are some markets like as an event, like jewelries and the arts crafts. Do you join your market with them? Or do you just do separately?
Great questions. First, criteria. Of course, we have criteria. I must say, in the beginning, it was more my feeling. I was the curator. I just made the choices, but it's necessary now to be more clear about the criteria. Our first one is that you have to be based in an area in 50 kilometers around Rotterdam. We do make exceptions for this. You have to produce really good food, which is a soft criterion, but it's something almost everybody understands. You have to make it yourself, and you have to sell it yourself. And well, there are many, many more, but I think these are the most important ones. One addition for all animal products, so like meat, dairy, eggs, etc. We are only interested in working with farmers that are very good for their animals. We don't rely on certification, organic certification or otherwise, because many of the farms we work with are so small that they can't afford to be certified. Shall I wait for the second bit of the question? Yeah? Okay.
그래서 저희가 지금 아까 질문해 주셨던 어떤 자격 부분이라고 할까요? 여기부터 좀 설명을 드리자면 처음에 시작할 때는 제가 어떤 그런 코디네이터였기 때문에 제 그냥 개인적인 그 기준에 의해서 이 셀러들을 정했습니다. 하지만 지금 같은 경우에는 조금 더 이제 규정이 생겼고 제일 그 첫 번째 규정 같은 경우는 그 로테르담 시에서 50km 이내 반경에 있는 생산자들, 그리고 또 저희가 예외도 있는데요. 여기에 예외에는 좀 직관적으로 말씀드리면 좋은 음식을 생산하는 사람, 여기에 부합하는 사람들인데요. 이제 직접적으로 이 생산에 참여를 해야 되고 또 만들어내야 되는 이런 요리사분들이고, 또 한 가지는 특히 그 육류라든지 유제품, 계란 이런 것들을 생산하시는 분들은 동물 복지 차원에서 얼마나 그 동물들의 그 관리를 잘 하고 있느냐 이런 것에 대한 것들을 좀 고려를 하고요. 또 마지막으로는 그 인증 제도 같은 경우에 뭐 유기농이라든지 이런 제도에는 저희가 사실은 큰 기준을 두고 있지 않습니다. 많은 그 셀러분들이 굉장히 소규모의 농부분들이시기 때문에 이런 인증 제도를 받지 못하시는 분들이 많이 있어서 여기에는 사실은 제 기준을 두고 있지 않아요. 좀 다음 답변을 좀 들어볼게요.
And everybody that is on the market pays a fee because it's the only source of income we have. We are not funded. We don't work with sponsors. We don't work with volunteers. So everybody that works for us is paid. So is paid by the money that all the sellers pay us. And
그리고 아까 말씀드렸던 요금 같은 경우에는 예 맞습니다. 모든 분들 이 마켓에 참여하시는 모든 셀러분들이 다 저희에게 요금을 지불하셔야 돼요. 왜냐하면 저희 마켓 같은 경우에는 후원이나 기금이 전혀 없고요. 자원봉사자도 없기 때문에 이 인건비도 여기 셀러로 참여하시는 분들이 내는 요금으로 저희가 충당을 하고 있습니다.
And the last question was about events, if they took place during the markets or next to the markets. Did I understand well?
It's joining the different markets together with your weekly markets of farmers market, and if there is any like events that was joining, like as an events market.
We have a market every week, and that is a perfect basis to also organize small events. Because people are already used to coming, they know that something is going on. So there's already music and technology, and we have power and tables and etc. So we are a very popular place also for other organizers to do little events, and almost everyone is welcome. We also organize our own events on the market, on the same day, on the same place. And the normal market will be just moved a bit, and then we create space for something else, or we do it after the market or before the market. So, yeah.
네, 그리고 마지막으로 질문해 주셨던 부분인데요. 저희가 그 마켓 그 시장으로서 굉장히 사람들이 이미 모여 있는 공간이기 때문에 그 또 이런 테이블이라든지 무대라든지 이런 시설들도 이미 다 마련이 되어 있어서 다른 그런 마켓을 주최하시는 분들이나 행사를 주최하시는 분들이 같이 함께 협력해서 열리기도 하고 또 이런 공간을 마련해 드리는 역할을 하기도 합니다.
진 분은 손 들고 발표해 주시면.
Do we have any other questions? We have one here.
네. 개인적으로 비슷한 일을 하다가 실패한 경험을 가지고 있어서 네덜란드에 정말 농부시장으로 만들어낸 어떤 커먼즈를 만들어낸 과정 너무 감동 깊게 들었고 또 가능성을 열어주신 것에 대해서 굉장히 감사드리고 존경의 인사를 드리고 싶습니다. 예, 제가 두 가지 질문을 드리고 싶은데 하나는 선생님께서 처음 이걸 꼭 해야겠다라고 맘먹은 것, 어려운 일이지만 끝까지 하게 된 어떤 동기, 그리고 그래서 농부시장 선생님께 어떤 의미였기에 지금까지 오셨는지 그 부분에 대한 이야기와 아까 이야기하다 마무리가 조금 전 궁금한 게 있어서 이제 사실 네덜란드나 우리나 지금 뭐 공원을 이용하거나 어떤 공유 공간을 이용해서 농부의 시장을 민간이 지속적으로 하는 부분이 많이 막혀 있다. 그런데 제도가 따라오지 못했는데 시민의 힘으로 그걸 만들어냈다고 하셨는데 시의회를 찾아가고 이렇게 해서 어떤 근거로 이게 지속 가능성을 확보하게 되셨는지 그런 어떤 조건을 만들어내신 건지 그리고 앞으로 추가적으로 어떤 조건을 만들어내야 앞으로 다른 시장들도 그렇게 네덜란드에서 자리를 잡을 것 같으신지에 대한 이야기를 듣고 싶습니다.
So, if I share my personal experience, I was also trying to do something similar like you did as an operator of the market, but it failed. So it was really inspiring to hear your story, and I wonder why did you decide at the first place to open a market like this, and how could you just keep going through these obstacles and being tenacious? And also, there are lots of limits to use these public spaces to use as a market or public use. And when you legalize your market, what basis do you have, and what conditions did you make to win the heart of City Council? And would you give us some advices, or if anyone in Netherlands want to do the same, what sort of advices would you give them?
Well, that's a lot of questions again, I think. Why did we want to do it? Yeah, that's a long story, but maybe the most important one is that we thought it was just very logical. We didn't understand the markets that the city organizes are not doing well, and I think that's an international phenomenon. The people visiting are elderly. The people who are selling are elderly. So young people don't use these markets anymore. And also the quality of the food is not good. So when on our holidays abroad, we sometimes saw markets that were better with food sold straight from farmers, with wine, which is not allowed on the market in the Netherlands. Also a great place to stay and to learn and to talk to people. While on the city markets, the speed they have to sell their products with is so high because it has no value. So they sell like B quality food, and they can only make a little bit of money on it. So they have to sell a lot. So no time to talk. And we wanted to create a market where there was time to talk, and we just believed that it was possible. So in the beginning, nobody understood that we were trying to do something new. So the people from the city, but also the farmers, also the people from Rotterdam. So when we weren't allowed to start, we just decided to first show big. So we started with a huge festival for which we first looked for a lot of funding. And that funding came from cultural funds, but also from agricultural funds and all kinds of other ways. So we had a lot of money to make a first impression. And we did it. We did the first impression, but that was not enough. But by then, after the first time, everybody was so happy and so enthusiastic, including us, that we were in love. We couldn't let go anymore. So that's why I I just kept going. Because we just didn't understand why the system wouldn't allow us to create something that was so normal.
좀 긴 이야기긴 한데요. 좀 간단하게 말씀을 드리자면 제가 생각하기에 저희가 왜 이 시장을 하고 싶었냐라고 물으신다면 제 생각에는 당연히 일어날 수밖에 없는 일이었다고 생각을 해요. 굉장히 논리적으로 보면 이런 시가 주관하고 있는 시장들은 사실 잘 운영이 되지 않고 있었습니다. 그 노년층이 굉장히 많았고 젊은 세대들은 더 이상 이런 시장을 이용하지 않았고 시장에 있는 음식의 질도 그렇게 높지 않았어요. 그렇기 때문에 어떻게 보면 저희 같은 농부시장이 만들어질 수밖에 없는, 왜냐하면 또 그런 요구가 있었기 때문에 만들어질 수밖에 없는 상황이었고, 또 이런 전통 시장 같은 경우에는 뭐 이 식재료의 그 어떤 마진이랄까요, 그런 게 높지 않았기 때문에 그냥 많이 파는 데만 집중이 돼 있어서 굉장히 그 소비자들이 바쁘게 그냥 사고 지나가게 되는 그런 공간이었다면, 저희 농부시장은 좀 더 공유지 같은 역할을, 아까도 말씀을 드렸지만 그런 역할을 많이 하게 됐습니다. 소비자들도 있고 판매자들도 있고 또 그냥 시민들이 와서 함께 대화를 나누고 시간을 보내는 어떤 그런 공간이 됐어요. 그랬기 때문에 저희가 이제 어떤 그 폐지가 될 어떤 위험에 처했을 때 많은 사람들이 사라지지 않길 바랬습니다. 그렇기 때문에 제가 이 많은 사람들이 우리 시장을 좋아하고 지지하고 있기 때문에 또 멈추지 않고 계속 갈 수 있었던 이유기도 하고요.
And I'm just a very stubborn person.
또 한 가지 말씀드리자면 제가 굉장히 고집불통인 성격이라고.
Is there something more I should say about this question? I'm sorry. Can you?
뭐 좀 더 답변이 되셨는지. 네, 괜찮은가요?
네.
어떤 would you be able to add a little bit more on what are the bases did you have to make it legalized? And what policies did you need?
Well, I think the most important one was to create a very wide base of people that supported us, that liked us. So we had the farmers in our pockets, we had the citizens, we had the consumers, but from a lot of different types of consumers. So elderly people, young people. We had the local media. And it wasn't a deliberate thing. It just happened because we kept popping up in the city, just like the markets in Korea. We just kept showing our faces and kept on going. So by the time that we were threatened, because the rules were changed and we could suddenly only organize 2 markets a year, while we were already talking, we were talking to the officials. And 1 week we were talking to the officials about creating a new rule. And the next week I was called into City Hall and they told me, you can only do 2 markets a year. And then sort of our whole fan base exploded. They wanted to go to City Hall with tractors. They wanted to. They wrote letters. They wrote poems. The cafes. They started signature lists. So it was just a very slow process of winning the hearts of many different types of people. And a good part, of course, of these types of markets is that you can't object to them. I mean, it's about healthy food environment. It's about local economy. It's about kids spending their 25 cents to an apple, first 25 cents to an apple instead of a lollipop. So it's about community. It's about good public space. So even political parties that are not my color, of my choice, they all are in pro Rotterdamse Oost. So I think that's a universal thing again. There's so many policy issues that you can click onto, and you should, to make it happen.
네, 가장 중요하게 제가 여겼던 것 중에 하나는 저희가 이런 합법화 과정을 가지는 과정 중에 이게 저희가 굉장히 어떤 압력을 넣어서 이거를 합법화를 한 것이 아니라 어떻게 보면 굉장히 유기적으로 일어난 일입니다. 우선 저희가 아까 말씀드렸던 것처럼 농부, 시민, 또 저희 마켓을 찾아주시는 소비자분들, 또 저희 지역의 언론, 이런 분들을 다 포함해서 굉장히 두꺼운 지지 지지자층이 있었어요. 저희 마켓을 위한. 그랬기 때문에 저희가 이런 분들이 뭐 이제 시위도 하고 또 그 시의회에 이런 민원도 넣기도 하고요. 또 저희 전부 이제 이런 뭐랄까요 요구들을 이제 시의회에 넣기 시작하면서 제가 이제 시의회에 공공 정책자들과 이야기를 나누게 됐을 때 1년에 2번만 열게 해주겠다 이런 얘기를 듣고 나서 이제 한번 다 같이 일어나게 된 이런 경우예요. 그랬기 때문에 더 이상 거절할 수 없는 어떤 이런 상황이 만들어졌습니다. 왜냐하면 이런 마켓이 어떻게 보면 지역 경제에도 굉장히 도움이 되고 또 시민의 건강과 가장 직결된 일이기도 하고요. 또 공동체를 위한 일이기도 했기 때문에 이런 것들을 위해서 이런 것들을 일어나지 못하게 하는 공공제도들을 우리가 이제 없애고 또 새로운 제도들 뒷받침할 수 있는 새로운 제도들을 만드는 어떤 이런 토대를 만들었다고 할 수 있겠습니다.
I have one thing to add, actually, if possible. I did before I was involved in the food in the food industry. I've seen many different worlds. I've seen the world of shipping. I've seen the world of product development. I've seen the world of, well, you name it, because I worked as an innovation expert. So I wasn't surprised at all that the legislation doesn't fit a new phenomenon. If you want to do something new, really new, then it's very logical that the rules do not fit, because the rules were made for the old system. So if you want to create systems or work on systems change, you always have to find a way to bridge the gap between the old rules and the moment where the rules have changed for your little things that you started up. So it takes time, and you just have to be smart in the meantime and think of a strategy to keep going.
네, 또 한 가지만 좀 더 추가를 드리자면 제가 이런 식품 업계에 있기 전에는 도시 혁신가로 일을 하면서 뭐 유통업계도 그렇고요. 여러 가지 분야에서 일을 했는데요. 모두 아마 공통된 일일 것 같아요. 어떻게 어떤 새로운 활동을 하려면 새로운 것을 만들어내려면 우선은 옛 세상을 위해서 존재하던 제도들을 무너뜨리는 일이 필요합니다. 이것들을 무너뜨리고 새로운 시스템을 가져와야 돼요. 그리고 이런 과정은 굉장히 긴 시간을 들일 수밖에 없고 이 사이에 저희가 어떻게 하면 좀 더 전략적으로 이런 일들을 가져올 수 있을 것인가 하는 것들을 생각을 해야 합니다.
네, 지금 저희가 그 게르다와 연결되기로 약속한 시간이 좀 지났어요. 근데 질문들이 많았어서 한 분만 더 먼저 손 드셨던 분이 계셔가지고 한 분만 더 질문을 받고 그리고 다음 질문들에 대해서는 제가 젤다와 연락할 수 있는 방법을 찾아서 추가로 더 드리는 것으로 하겠습니다.
I'm really sorry to tell you that we have only short time left, so we will have just one more question from the audience.
네, 농부시장을 열면서 기존 지역 상권들하고 충돌이 없었는지, 그 충돌이 있었으면 어떻게 해결했는지 하고, 그 다음에 이제 식품 위생의 그 정도가 어느 정도인지, 단순 가공이나 이제 우리 농부시장에서는 이제 규제를 많이 받지 않습니까? 그러니까 그런 것들을 어떻게 노트르담에서는 어떻게 처리가 되는지, 그게.
When you opened the new farmers market, did you have the conflicts between the already existing markets in the area? And the other question is whether you, how do you deal with any health or food safety issues, because you have a lot of food that has made from like small farmers and small facilities?
We had, I think in the beginning, we weren't taken really seriously by the other markets, by the existing markets. So with the other, no real big issues there. And by the time they took us seriously, we were already there. So they couldn't
object to us anymore. Food safety, we have those strict rules in the Netherlands, just like in Korea. And sometimes we get people checking, officials checking the situation on the market. We never had any big issues. And I must say, I think most rules are not meant for situations we are in. But they are designed for the global food market, and it's sometimes a real mismatch. So, for instance, if somebody bakes a pizza across the street, like 10 meters from the market, he takes it out of the oven, he needs to cool it down to below a certain amount of degrees, like 10, 15 degrees or something, and then on the market needs to reheat it. Well, that's silly, right? So we keep looking for ways to also influence those rules to make it them more fitting for us. But that is really, really hard. So sometimes we just fly below the radar. We look for little cracks and holes in the rules again. But it's a worry. I understand your question.
사실 처음에 시작할 때는 그 주변 상권들이라고 할까요? 주변 시장에 별로 위협을 끼칠 수 있는 존재는 아니었기 때문에 이런 갈등은 사실은 겪지 않았어요. 그리고 저희가 마침내 어떤 경쟁자로서의 이런 위치를 갖게 됐을 때는 이미 저희를 내보낼 수 없는 상황이었기 때문에 사실은 이런 경쟁이 아주 심화되지는 않았습니다. 그리고 또 한 가지 그 식품 안전과 관련돼서 좀 말씀을 해주셨는데 이 질문을 왜 하셨는지 저도 정말 이해가 됩니다. 저희 네덜란드에서도 그 한국과 마찬가지로 굉장히 깐깐한 어떤 그런 규율 들과 제도들이 있는데요. 사실은 이것들이 이런 글로벌 그런 식품 어떤 그런 것에 맞춰진 그런 규율이기 때문에 이런 소규모 농가라든지 식품 생산자들에게는 맞지 않는 부분이 있어요. 그래서 저희가 또 하고 있는 일 중에 하나는 여기와 관련된 제도를 우리의 실정에 맞는 제도로 좀 바꿔야 되는 일인데요. 말씀하신 것처럼 굉장히 어려운 일입니다. 그래서 저희도 사실 그 검사하시는 분들이 와서 저희 마켓을 둘러보시고 확인도 하시고 하는데 여전히 아직까지는 큰 문제가 일어난 적은 없었고 최대한 좀 안 걸리는 범위 내에서 할 수 있도록 좀 이렇게 레이더에 안 걸리게 좀 한다고 좀 표현을 하셨는데요. 아주 그 부분 말씀하신 것처럼 저희도 굉장히 고민하고 있는 부분입니다.
If another crazy example of a miso maker, Japanese miso maker, and she has to send a little sample from every batch to a laboratory to get it checked. But because in the Netherlands it's so expensive, she sends it back to Japan. A local miso maker sends a sample of every miso pot to Japan to get it tested and get it back. So we need to stop doing so crazy with food that is already healthy.
네, 또 한 가지 좀 예를 드리자면 저희 그 식품 그 미소를 팔고 계시는 일본 그 매대가 있는데요. 그분이 이제 미소의 샘플을 다 이 네덜란드에 있는 실험실에 보내서 검사를 받습니다. 근데 그게 굉장히 가격이 비싸기 때문에 이 식품 규율을 지키기 위해서 이 미소를 전부 다 일본으로 또 보내신다고 합니다. 그래서 거기에서 검사를 받아서 이것을 합격 판정을 받아서 오게 되는데 사실은 이 전체 과정이 정말 말도 안 되는 과정이기 때문에 이런 것들을 좀 무너뜨릴 수 있는 이런 활동을 저희가 좀 해야 된다고 생각하고 있어요.
많은 질문들이 있을 것으로 예상합니다만 지금 약속한 시간이 되어서 다음 순서로 진행을 해야 될 것 같습니다. 그래서 저희가 여기 젤다를 향해서 한번 손을 흔들어 주시고, 네, 감사의 박수도 한번 쳐주실까요?
We have a lot of questions, but thank you very much joining us here.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor to be able to talk to you, and I would like to invite you all to come to Rotterdam to the market, please.
여러분 저를 초대해 주셔서 감사드리고 언젠가는 여러분이 저희 그 로테르담시에서 열리고 있는 마켓에 좀 오셨으면 바람이 있습니다.
Have a great day.
네, 그리고 지금까지 영상 번역도 맡아주시고 지금 순차 통역을 해주신 이정민 통역가입니다. 비아 캠페스나에서 네, 한국인 스태프로 일을 하고 있습니다. 감사합니다. 네, 질다 we'll see soon. Okay, bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.
죄송합니다. 아주 조신하게 나가기로 해버렸습니다. 네. 네, 그 영상에서 되게 흥겹게 춤을 추는 모습을 보고 여러분들도 되게 흥겨워하시는 것을 저는 느꼈습니다. 그리고 굉장히 많은 질문들이 있을 것 같은데 제가 젤다한테 한번 연락을 해보고 연락처를 교환할 수 있는 방법들을 찾아서 전달해 드리도록 하겠습니다. 자, 지금부터 4시 20분까지 쉬는 시간을 드리겠습니다. 네, 쉬는 시간 이후에는 사례 발표, 한국의 사례 발표와 종합 토론이 또 예정되어 있습니다. 자리 뜨지 마시고 잠깐 화장실 다녀오시고 장례를 정리해 주시면 감사하겠습니다.